Hello, welcome to another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman, and I'm joined by my usual cohorts, the Professor, Russ Stevens, Uncle Joe McLaughlin, and he, JP's first son, Tim Hoey. Well, we have another great show for you tonight, so boys, let's get it started. We start with all the talk. It's Wednesday night. It's November 18th. It's the NBA draft, and when we've had a lack of sports around here for the last few weeks, looking forward to the Celtics. They have pick 14, 26, and 30. And I swear to God, guys, this is like deja vu from a year ago. We said, oh, there's no way Daniel will pick all three.
Yeah.
He's going to pick all three.
Well, he picked three scrubs that don't play, so.
Hey, hang on. No, I mean, that's not fair. Grant Williams is not a scrub. Grant Williams is a
Okay,
decent
I'll give you Grant.
basketball player.
Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?
Romeo Langford's a bust like N'Keal Harry's a bust.
Well,
we
so
haven't
far.
even seen him play. At least we saw N'Keal, play lousy.
Look, Romeo Langford's less likely to be on the court than Grandpa.
At this rate, yeah.
The way he gets injured, yeah.
He's not. No, Romeo's not a difference maker. That's for sure.
Okay, so, fellas, we always hear tons of rumors every year, every day about Danny Ainge, and he stands still and he does absolutely nothing. Are we to be fooled tonight that anything's going to happen?
You know what he always says?
He
always says, sometimes it's the deal you don't make that's the best.
Yeah.
Danny's trying to be smarter than everybody else. I'm sure he's got over on some people in the past. I wonder if he's just overplaying his hand. I mean, you always want to come out on top of a deal. You never want to look like you got the best. Look what look what Philly had to do to get the player that they wanted. I mean, you have to give a lot to get a lot.
Yeah, and Russ, the rumors about Drew Holiday was going on for a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden, they get a deal. The Pelicans get a deal that is very similar to an Anthony Davis deal.
Yeah.
Holiday. I don't understand.
Yeah, I mean, look, the Celtics were never going to match that deal. And the only reason it's very, very similar to the situation last year when Kawhi Leonard forced the Clippers' hands to give up a boatload for Paul George. It was exactly the same thing. Basically, in order to keep Giannis in Milwaukee, they had to pay for Drew Holiday, who wasn't even an all-star, what you would normally pay for a top 5 player in the NBA. The Celtics were never going to match that deal.
Yeah, the Celtics offered supposedly Kemba in the 3 picks.
Yeah, but does that kind of set the tone for the evening where all of a sudden, the baseline is the Holiday deal?
Well,
no,
you know what?
If it goes by that, no deals are going to be made.
Yeah.
You know what jumps out at me? Like these kind of mid-level players, there's a million of them out there, and people are looking for a difference maker. And to get a difference maker, you have to give up the farm, it looks like.
Yeah. But also it's showing that picks from 15 and above mean nothing. They're throwaways.
Yeah, it's exactly what it shows.
We're not used to that in any other sport, but in the NBA, you're lucky to find 15 good guys coming out of the draft.
Yeah, after what, 5, it seems to not make a difference what pick you have.
Yeah. I mean, Russ, we even have questions about, look, Tyler Hero, we thought it was fantastic. We were mad that he didn't jump one more spot to us, but he still has issues. He didn't play that well in the finals. He still may go back to the level of being a 13th.
Yeah, I think any given draft, the consensus is there may be 1, if not 2 superstars in any given draft. In any given draft, there were probably 3 to 5 other players who could conceivably be stars. And then the rest of the guys are starters or rotation players. It's just what it is what it is.
Yeah. Timmy, is Danny Ainge in love with his players?
Well, I'm in love with some of them too. You have to look, is this person better than the person I have or the person that they may become?
That's right.
So we have 2 budding superstars, right? And then we have a small cast of characters, 4 other players who you're saying in the rotation. If I were Danny, I'd just be looking for a guy who can just fill the hole from the 3, just a drop dead 3-point shooter. He's got to go in there and shoot the lights out.
Look, I think that the thing that we've got to give Danny credit for is I think he properly values his own players. If you take a look at what he's done over the years, he signed Marcus Smart to an incredible contract, right? He signed Jaylen Brown last year to a fantastic contract. He's gonna re-sign Tatum. Like, I think he's got a good, he got the most out of Terry Rozier, and then he let him walk, right? If you go down the line, Danny has had a good record with understanding the value of the players on his team, and that may end up with him trading Hayward tonight.
But the same token, he hasn't had a good handle on the value of the free agency signed in Gordon Hayward and Kemba Walker. Both came, as
Look,
they're nowhere near as good as advertised.
you could argue, Joe, it's a great point, and I think this is more often the rule rather than the exception. None of the players that he's signed to max contracts have played to their contract. Al did not. He was close, and he played well, right? Hayward did not, and Kemba is not playing to a max contract, right?
He doesn't look going forward. He doesn't look like he will either.
I'll say Al Hayward. I'll say Hayward his money. Al Horford earned his money here. I mean, he brought us. I thought he was a difference maker, bringing us to another level of the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
I think he brought a winning attitude. We got walked all over by Atlanta the year before in the playoffs,
That's
and then
right.
we beat them the next year.
I don't think he way underperformed his contract.
No.
He just isn't your classic max player, but he was fine.
And he set the tone that max guys can come to the Celtics.
Yeah, we got value from his contract.
Yeah, I thought he played like Al Horford plays, and that's all you can ask for. Okay, they extended the opt-out ability for Hayward till tomorrow, which people believe means that this is an opportunity for the Celtics to trade Hayward tonight. They got to pull the trigger, guys.
If someone wants him.
Well, I think people want him, Joe, but for the right price. I don't think people want him at $34 million a year, but if he was willing to sign a 4-year contract for 25 million a year, I think he'd have a lot of suitors. And that's probably what the Celtics are trying to do, is find a place for him where someone wants him for the next 3 or 4 years.
A year sounds like the place, but maybe they know there's a place and they're just not willing to give up anything for him.
And Timmy, it's going to be one of these things. I think that if they're going to trade him to Atlanta, then they have to negotiate with Hayward first on an extension, and then they can make the deal. So that could be delayed.
Yeah, I think we lost Timmy. What's interesting? Go ahead, Tim.
I think Hayward. I think Hayward's gonna. I think we're gonna see a different Hayward next year. I don't know. I think this. I think this. I don't know. I just think this injury.
I've heard that
set him back.
Oh my God!
I don't know.
Look. There's
I think he still got some good basketball.
There's no more kind-hearted person in the world than Tim Hoey. So I'm going to absolutely. And you're all about second, third, fourth chances. So I completely understand how you rock it. But no. In the sports world, I have given up, Timmy. I cannot give him any more chances. This is like Daryl freaking Strawberry.
This isn't a meeting, Tim.
No, come on. No, I can't do that. Well, you're going to be there like 96 years old and say, I think this year, Grandpa, I swear. No, just hear me out. I swear, just hear me out here. No, I'm done.
Okay, but can we just let by the way,
even Russ is giving up on trying to defend him.
I'm pretty much giving up on him. Okay. However, Scotty, I do need to point something out.
What?
When Jimmy Garoppolo is given another chance in New England, you will be the first one in line to get the autograph. Okay, so you just need to be consistent.
Russell. Well played, Russell.
What has Jimmy G done but giving us gave us Trent Brown in a Super Bowl?
Stop. I'm begging you to stop. You cannot backtrack.
No, you can't even compare the two. You can't even compare the two.
Scott, you nicknamed Jimmy G Nana last week. You freaking nicknamed him Nana.
You can't compare the two, Scotty. They're the exact same scenario.
You can always bring out the kryptonite. You can always bring out the kryptonite.
Hey, Scotty, got a question for you. Have you ever seen Gordon Hayward and Jimmy Garoppolo in the same place?
That's good. No, all right, Joe. Does Grandpa stay or go tonight?
Well, we're all hoping he goes, and for value. I'm hoping we get up there in the top 5.
Okay,
No,
Timmy, does he stay or go? I know what you want. Timmy.
He goes because there's too much smoke around it. There's got to be a fire somewhere.
Okay, Timmy, does he stay or go?
I think he stays.
Rusty boy.
I think he goes, and there's actually this really sort of obscure thing that he could go to Atlanta for nothing more than a trade exception, which would be fine by me, because you could trade. You could then trade.
Go to Atlanta, I know.
You could then trade for guys like Gallinari. You could trade for guys like Christian Wood into. It would be found money for us, so I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I just want him off the team. I could care less at this point. Seriously.
Well, Scotty, you want him off the team, but who do we have no depth. That's the issue. We have no depth.
He's not contributing anything. I've seen enough. Marcus Smart, would you? Which, if you hear the whispers and believe them, it looks like Marcus Smart could go to the Golden State Warriors if you were willing to offer him for the 2nd pick in the draft. You get this Wiseman kid. Would you do that?
Of course he would. No one. Golden State's not stupid. They're not giving you the 2nd pick for Marcus Smart.
When LaMelo Ball is going for the first round, the first pick in the draft, Joe, this is a little different.
But Marcus Smart doesn't get you up to the 2nd pick. You'd have to include the 3 first-round picks. Anyways, and I don't think Golden State wants to use them.
Oh, I don't know. Timmy, would you trade Marcus Smart for the 2nd pick in the draft?
Who is the 2nd?
It would be Wiseman. It'd be the
big kid Wiseman.
You'd be taking a flyer on a big kid who obviously couldn't play last year in college. You'd be taking a flyer. You'd be basically.
Well, I would say if we did that, I think if we did that, we're pushing out any chance of a championship or being to the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years.
All right, Russ.
I would not. For similar reasons to Timmy, I would not trade Marcus Smart for a shot in the dark big guy who could flame out just as easily as he could succeed. And if he succeeds, it's going to take him 3 years. You know, Scotty, I mean, I know you love your big guys, but how many of these big guys have you seen taken in the top 10 of the draft over the last 10 years just flame out?
Oh, there's no question. Right.
Over the history of the NBA, so many have flamed out.
No.
Look, guys like Embiid were so good, Philly was willing to take a year off, let him amend from an injury, because they knew once he came to that team, he'd be worth it. A guy like Wiseman, I don't know. You haven't seen enough of him to think that he could be,
I totally agree.
Just a big stiff at some point.
I'm a big Marcus Smart fan. I know you're not, Scotty. I'm a big fan.
I'm a fan of him, but I just don't know if you can win a championship.
Look, I'm willing to trade Smart.
No one would give you the 2nd pick for him.
I'm willing to trade Smart. I just want something more of a sure thing back for him than a 19-year-old head case 7'1" kid.
No, I get you. Look, it's funny. I never thought about the possibility of Kemba going. I like Kemba a lot. I know he's not worth a max contract, but I want Kemba on this team. Any possibility that Kemba could go tonight?
Yeah, I think there is. Look, I would sort of trace it back to, I think Danny may have had enough of signing these max players he doesn't get value from. And if he can turn Kemba into, 2 rotation pieces, he may do that.
Oh, Wendell Carter from
that would be the dream
I remember
scenario.
that was your guy. That's what you wanted.
It would be the dream scenario is you trade Kemba, maybe even at a pick, for Carter and a contract like Otto Porter, and all of a sudden you've got your center of the future.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know, Russ, you loved Wendell Carter coming out of the draft.
Sure
wanted
did.
him to take him. Joe, does Kemba go tonight?
No, I don't think there's a taker.
Yeah.
I'd like to see them upgrade that point guard position.
But it's interesting because Al Horford and Kemba, I would say, are probably very similar situations. I don't think if Danny's going to get rid of Kemba now that it's been set what Al Horford's value was, he's probably going to have to give up 2 of those first-round picks to get him out the door.
Yeah, you're right. Because someone's going to have to eat the last 3 years of that contract.
Yeah.
Maybe half a game, maybe.
I mean, again, it's going to be an interesting night. I think that he's going to end up drafting a guy he likes in the 14th, and then 26th and 30 will be European stash guys.
Or he trades, both of them to move up into the 20s or trades into next year's draft. I don't think they're taking 3. I think they may take 2.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, go to the Patriots. I don't know where Timmy is. Look, Cam Newton has shown that he can win in the NFL with very few targets.
Yeah.
And it may not be pretty. It may not be what we're used to the last 20 years. But I would say if you give Cam Newton quality wide receivers and a tight end, I really want to see what he could do next year.
Jacoby Myers was the only wideout that caught a pass the other night.
The only wideout who's thrown to, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, guys, I said it on our text. I find myself really, really rooting for him and wanting him to do well just because of how he's handled himself. Don't forget that he's coming in and replacing the greatest quarterback of all time, the most successful football player of all time.
Unquestionably.
And he's handled that piece of it incredibly well. And does he have flaws? Absolutely. Do I want to see him play out this season before making a decision to sign him? Absolutely. I'd love nothing more for him to play well for the rest of the time in this Patriots re-signing him.
Yeah, Timmy, 2021. I don't know if you agree. I want Cam Newton as my quarterback. I just don't see anyone out there that is better.
Scotty, I agree. I'm rooting for him, like Russell said. I've grown to admire this kid. I wasn't a big fan of him coming in.
Right.
I think he's handled this transition remarkably well. He didn't have training camp. He didn't have a lot of things, in this complicated offense that the Patriots have. I think if he could get his mechanics back like he had in the first 2 games, I think we saw a trace of that a little bit in the second half last week. He started to look like himself again in the game before. I don't know who's better out there that could replace him.
Yeah. And Joe, you're obviously an expert in the offensive line. Right now, I want to carry this offensive line, which includes signing Joe Thuney. I want this offensive line. We got a strong back in Damian Harris. We got Cam Newton. Right there, that's a core for an offense that can ball control and that can compete in every game next year.
And yeah, but you're not going to even make the playoffs with an offense like that. You know that.
No, I know, but I'm
going to get the ball down the field.
No, but I'm just saying that's a nice foundation to build upon.
You'll be competitive. Yes.
I think for the Patriots, it's very clear what their needs are in the offseason already, and I think that usually for a lot of teams that's not very clear. It's very clear what they need and what they don't need.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
No, but Will Belichick, our glaring need is wide receivers, and I can almost guarantee you Belichick won't draft a wide receiver. Just because he's supposed to, he won't.
Well, he's more likely, to me, which he's done in the past.
Free agent.
Yeah. Kind of a mid-level Chris Hogan type, Philip Dorsey.
He might go for a big splash and might not need to spend a lot.
Right.
New Orleans, Pittsburgh, a lot of really good teams with good wide receivers are in cap jail. They're going to have to cut half their teams. Both of those teams have to cut half their teams next year because the money already allocated.
Yeah.
New Orleans is already $150 million over the cap next year.
Yeah. The big question will
guys
be,
available, Russ.
Well, the big question will be, to your point, we know what the needs are. Remember, we're going into next year, I think, with, if not the most, then a top 3 amount of cap space and, some decent draft picks. The big question for me or for you guys, it would be, could you see the Patriots in 1 year restocking enough to be competitive for a title next year?
Yeah, one thing that comes to mind for me is with Brady here, these top guys sometimes were willing to take less to come here, there was a good chance they were going to win a Super Bowl. And we used to kind of get guys on the cheap because of that. Is Cam Newton, does he have the same attractiveness
I think he does.
that Tom Brady had?
Yeah, I think they like him. They love him across the league. And Russ, to answer your question, I think so because of one guy, Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we were so impressed with Belichick when Brady got injured in 2008 and what a job he did in that 11-5 season. I'm again impressed by how they've competed this season with.
Yeah. I mean, this is the same Ravens team that absolutely dismantled the Patriots with Tom Brady on it.
Yeah.
That we just beat,
Right.
Well, the weather was a factor. Those bad snaps were kind of the difference in the game.
So now all of a sudden, some young guys are. We liked Winovich. We didn't really understand why he was put in purgatory for 2 or 3, 4 weeks.
That was a stump.
He comes back and he plays really well. He plays actually a few positions in the linebacking core. And then you see a guy like Duger, who fantastic second-round pick, great athlete. He's doing everything they could have ever dreamed for a guy 9 games into his NFL career.
Yeah.
it's a mystery. You know, it's a mystery why these guys were riding the pine. That's what I don't understand.
Well, I can see Winovich. He's dumb as a stump. He almost blew the game with that roughing the passer. I'm so glad the ref picked that flag up.
Remember, guys, they didn't have hardly any practices. They didn't really have a training camp and stuff. So a lot of stuff that they're working out, they're still working it out game 9. And sometimes you may have disciplined Winovich in the exhibition play for whatever he was doing. Now you're doing it in game 4.
Look, we've said it before. If you're going to pick a year to kind of rebuild, be mediocre, this is the year. It's so weird. There's no friggin' fans in the stands. I mean, it's got to be the strangest thing playing football on a field competitively, trying to beat the crap out of the other guy with nobody watching you.
Yeah.
This brings me back to like the Belichick way. I mean, he was willing to sit Winovich, like one of the more productive players on defense, just to make his point that you don't do that stupid roughing, that push from the back on an interception that he did 40 yards away from the play. He was willing to sit this dude for 3 games just to prove his point.
He sat Malcolm Butler during the Super Bowl and lost his Super Bowl to prove a freaking point, right? It was clearly something very much like that, Timmy.
He's got 6 rings to prove that his point is the correct way, I guess. You know what I mean? 7, 8, whatever, however many rings.
I know, right? Yeah, right.
He has to change the writing on the back of his boat every 2 years.
Our problem is not Belichick, the coach. Our problem is Belichick, the GM. And let's just hope that with all this money and all these draft picks coming up, he gets some help. The NFL is the one league where you can go last to first. We've seen it so many times, and also first to last very quickly.
Absolutely. All right, boys, we're playing. I just want to mention we've been winning without Gilmore, and I think Gilmore is out the door at the end of this season.
Well, you have to tackle in football, isn't that one of the rules? I mean, he was avoiding tackles like I avoid the IRS.
Yeah, I haven't missed Gilmore at all for Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah. All right, we're playing the Texans on Sunday. A game the Patriots should win and level their record at 5-5. We need predictions, Uncle Joe.
Oh, geez, I'll have to go with the Patriots again, but Deshaun Watson gives them fits. But 24-21. You got to keep it low scoring. These Patriots games are fast. They're always running. The clock's moving.
Rusty boy.
17-14 Patriots, low scoring.
All right, Timmy, I know you need to be suspicious. What do you got?
For the Patriots' benefits, I'm going to pick Houston 28-14. And hopefully my powers of prediction fail me once again.
Well, I hope the field is dried since Sunday. That was an incredible storm that came through. Wow.
That was wild.
Best time, too.
That was crazy. All right, Patriots will win 23-20 because it's all about Nick Folk. It's the Nick Folk year. That's what I'll remember most about this.
You just have a little every time he steps up to the ball, I say he's got to miss it.
I know, but he's been.
Well, that missed extra point could have been huge.
I know, right? All right, go the Red Sox. First of all, of course, we're a Brookline-based show. Theo Epstein, Brookline's own. He quits the Chicago Cubs. I don't know, maybe a political career. What do you think about that?
One thing I noticed, I got to say this, Brookline High has just graduated an inordinate amount of prominent people in this world.
Absolutely.
Like you're looking, who was it? Sam Kennedy? Did he go to Brookline High too?
Sure did. Guy
Was
named-
was he in Theo's class? Was Hoyer?
Yeah, they were on the same baseball team. Yeah, they were friends.
Axel Lucas Carmen.
Was Hoyer in there too?
What's that?
Did Hoyer go to Brookline High too?
No. Hoyer
No, okay. But Kennedy did. I mean, what are the odds the two Brookline High kids are like both of them are president of baseball teams? I mean,
Governor Dukakis.
yeah.
Who should have been president of the United States? Yeah, a couple of people.
They all end up on the Grandstanders.
Yeah, they do. Everybody does.
The peak of their career.
That's true. Look, you can send Chaim Bloom out the door right now and replace him with Theo Epstein. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I don't think Theo would do that. Like, coming back for a second round with the Red Sox, like what's to be gained? I think he's got if I were him, and it sounds like this is what he's going to do, is just take a little time off and figure out what your next move is.
I loved his quote. He said he likes the building part. He doesn't like the maintenance part.
Yeah.
I think he'll take on another project again. Some franchise that's been downtrodden for years and set his goals on bringing them a World Series. That seems to be his MO.
Yeah.
Well, boys, hopefully he'll be hanging out more and more in Brookline with his brother Paul and his family and stuff, and we'll try to get him on the show.
Well, you'd like it to do it with a big market team. That's the way.
Well, I mean, now that you mention that, wouldn't it a very natural thing be to go out to the California Angels and just take that franchise over from stem to stern and try to get them how close they've been? They're in competition with the Dodgers. They've never won it. They've got the best player, one of the top 10 players in baseball history.
They've won a World Series.
The Angels?
Yeah, they won one. Yeah. I
When?
forget what year. Yeah, they won 1 year.
I don't know.
Yeah, remember with the the sticks and stuff. Yeah, they won 1 year. I know it's tough.
But I can see Russ's point.
Give me that, Russ. Give me that.
I'm working on it.
They're overdue though for a championship.
Yeah, but they did.
They've been
won
terrible.
one time.
You're right. They won it in 2002, Scott.
Yeah, Troy Percival and stuff. Yeah, they won in 2000.
Yeah, they did.
But yeah, that's a great story. So Robinson Cano, we talked about Robinson Cano first. Robinson Cano signs this remarkable, crazy, guaranteed contract. And ever since, he's been getting jammed up for steroids for no reason. And now he just got jammed up today, and he forfeits his $24 million salary for next year. He's suspended the whole year. There's nobody stupider on the planet than Robinson Cano.
What's going through this guy's head? He has the money. He could bat 90.
Yeah.
And he's going to get his $24 million.
Yeah,
buddy, stay away from the freaking pills and the needles. I mean, they're going to pay you. You can go out there and stumble through the rest of your career, and you're going to get your money.
Talk to Dustin Pedroia.
Yeah, right.
Talk to 50 guys the Red Sox are still paying right now, right?
Right, Russ, it's unconscionable that these guys are that stupid.
I mean, to get busted for steroids in 2020, you have to be dumb as dirt. Like, honest to God, like you have to basically want it. It's unbelievable.
He's not some kid playing for a contract either. I mean,
what are you doing,
buddy? The money imagine that $24 million freaking dollars gone.
Hire a good doctor.
But he already lost like 12 million, I think, on the prior suspension.
So we're up to $36 million.
Guys, we're in Manny Ramirez territory with Robinson Cano, right? That's the level of stupidity that goes into committing this crime in the current era of baseball.
It's unbelievable. When I saw that today, I'm like, you've got to be kidding. And of course, the Mets are ecstatic because now they're out on that deal. And they can go DJ Lemieux.
The owner of the team was like the owner of the team was just walking down the sidewalk and found $24 million on the ground. I mean,
oh my God, yeah, that's a new owner too, and Cohen. He's got to be so happy. Right?
Oh my God, I'd be throwing a party if I were him right now.
To be honest with you, I'm sure the franchise he paid more because of Cano's deal. Right, now all of a sudden he's gone. Couldn't be happier. All right, go end with the Bruins. And it looks like Zdeno Chara is going to play, but not play for the Boston Bruins. That's going to be kind of weird.
What?
Is that a thing? I didn't know that.
Yeah, apparently there are 3 teams, including the Penguins, that are in
Really?
on Jara. Yeah,
Interesting.
Wow.
and that the Bruins aren't.
Yeah, I won't feel right seeing him. He's one of those guys that just won't look right without a Bruins shirt on.
Yeah.
You know, it just won't be right. I hope that doesn't happen.
Special team player. Great.
Yeah.
You know,
Still got a shot from the point that no one can match.
what it'll do is it'll finally put the C on Patrice Bergeron's chest, which will be kind of fun, though, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's good for him.
All right, so not a surprise, a poll came out of the most popular sports team in Boston. Patriots first, Red Sox still second.
Yeah.
I unless they were just calling up 80-year-old women, I don't know. I just don't
Right.
see that.
There was a lot about that poll I didn't find.
Yeah. You know what? The circles I travel in, it's the Bruins all the way. I'm telling. I mean, the Patriots. You know, it's an event when they play every Sunday, but I just see more diehard, like bleed black and gold Bruins fans out there than anything. It's probably the guys I hang out with. I don't know.
Yeah, right. I don't know in sheer numbers the Bruins fans are.
Yeah.
But I'm
Maybe
actually
the most
surprised.
dedicated.
Again, I'm surprised that the Celtics have not overtaken the Red Sox right now because the Celtics really, have great young players. They had a nice run.
Yeah, nice run.
They must have done the poll. They must have done all the polling at the nursing homes. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, it's also what time of year do they do the polling? It's a little bit of a weird poll. It sort of depends on who won, and it is surprising that the Red Sox, because they were just so pathetic last year, and the Celtics have had such a nice run. But
Bob Kraft went from by far the best owner at 67% down to 25%. And Wick Grossbeck is now number 1.
Yeah, no, I know Wick didn't do anything.
One trip to the massage parlor.
That might have been, well, yeah, his little trip to Florida there might have affected him.
That should have made him more popular, actually, boys.
Oh,
With us.
Yeah, right. All right, boys. Well, that's our
well,
show.
that
I
was fishy.
want you guys to enjoy the draft tonight. That's gonna be fun to watch. It's something sports. Want to thank everyone behind the scenes, of course, Corbin. I want to thank the fellas. Please check us out on our website at thegrandstanders.com and tune in again next Wednesday night at 6:30 for another edition of Grandstanders Live. I'm your host, Scott Kerman. Have a great and happy night.